Today, we're embarking on a creative journey together, a journey that invites you to step into a story, not just with words, but with colors, textures, and layers. We'll explore how to use papers and ephemera to tell the tale of someone's life, imagining the details and the moments that shape them. Through the quiet play of our hands and the soft blending of papers, we can weave a world that is both intimate and timeless. I'm Ingrid Carlsen, and I am so very glad that you're here with me today. I hope that after watching this video, you are inspired to create something beautiful with your hands. I pray that this video touches your heart and fills your senses with joy and beauty. And if it does, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button. And if you're not already subscribed, if you go ahead and subscribe now and hit the bell so you get notified anytime a new video comes out. As we journey together through these creative projects, your interaction means so much to me. When you comment, you like, or you share this video, it helps our little community grow, allowing for more kindred spirits to find their way here. It's like leaving behind a gentle footprint that others can follow, helping to spread the beauty of storytelling, art, and most importantly, faith. Your support, whether it's a simple hello in the comments or if you share this video with a friend, it truly makes a huge difference. It's a small act that brings so much encouragement, not just to me, but to everyone who finds inspiration here. And a big, big thank you to all of you that have already been a part of this journey with me, this community with me, and have spread the love to others. Today, we're not just making inserts for our junk journals, but we are crafting stories. Stories that are told through aged papers, delicate hand-printed elements, and the soft whispers of time long past. Imagine these pages as pieces of forgotten letters of an unfinished story waiting to be rediscovered. These inserts are really great because they just get clipped into your next journal, and that makes them so lovely and versatile. Every story begins with a feeling, and that feeling today has color. We're going to start by getting our three girls, and we're going to build a color palette for each of them. So I have three here. It's Margaret, then Anne, and Eleanor, and I'm just putting the colors that are going to coordinate. Eleanor is going to be lovely dusty blues. Anne is going to be pinks and lilacs, and Margaret is going to be greens. I'm going to start off by cutting my paper down to 5 inches by 8.5. This is going to all depend on what size inserts you want. If you have a smaller journal, you'll obviously make these into a smaller size that can fit in. I've talked in the past about when you have an idea and you have a plan of doing something in a very specific way, and then the end product does not match that. That's the case here. And I want to tell you that there is a freedom and joy of having peace with it and just allowing the creative process to take over. And in the end, I end up loving what I come up with, and I still have an idea for another video to show you later. So what I'm doing here is cutting out 3 equal size pieces as kind of backdrops for each of the girls, and they will all be in coordinating colors. As we go on this journey or maybe quest for slowing down and just enjoying the process, I highly encourage you to take out some paint. Painting's like a quiet conversation between your heart and your hands. It's a moment where time can slow down and we can just be. Colors tell stories without words, and in the meditative rhythm, we can find solace. It's in those small and mindful moments where creativity and reflection meet, and that we can uncover not just beauty in the work, but also in ourselves. Just like life is built from countless moments, that is how our page is crafted in layers. This music paper, softly torn at the edges, speaks of the songs that Margaret played on quiet evenings. It's not perfect, and there are frayed edges, and that's intentional. Life itself isn't always about being perfect, but it's actually about those imperfections, because that is where we can find the beauty. When layering the papers, think of them as chapters in your book, each one adding depth to your story, building on one another. And this is where your story begins to take shape. Ephemera is going to be our small details. It's the personal touch that makes the story come to life. A fussy cut flower, maybe it's one that Margaret had picked on a spring morning. She pressed it between the pages of a book. A little bird perched quietly on the edge of the paper. It's a symbol of freedom, of faith taking flight. When you're choosing your ephemera, think of the little moments that define your character's story. Maybe it's a torn letter that could represent unspoken words, while a pressed flower might be a reminder of a moment of joy. Starting with your color palette, this will allow you to tell the story of your character. And as you're picking out the ephemera, think of the little pieces that would spark joy in this life. What are the pieces that tell the story without you having to say a word? Sometimes stories are passed down through time, not by words, but the marks that they leave behind. These little rips and tears, the stains and wrinkles, they tell a story too, of letters maybe once exchanged, of ephemera that was gathered and treasured for years. These are thoughts that maybe they were sent across oceans and lived and were loved. By distressing these pages, we're not just adding texture, we're making history visible. I wanted to take a moment and tell you how much I truly appreciate you. I wanted to remind you today that you are a light that shines boldly. God's plans for you are good and filled with hope, and you are loved with an everlasting love. A big, big thank you to my Patreons. I love you guys so very much. I imagine that Margaret's life wasn't without challenges, but through it all, she held on to her faith, and she found moments of peace throughout all of her storms. This little bird, I think it's a symbol of hope, of new beginnings, and her belief that God's plan for her life was perfect and pure. But Margaret found peace, the kind of peace that only comes from God. After years of searching, she finally felt his peace. This is her story's conclusion, a quiet moment of surrender, of acceptance, and of love. Let's go ahead and build Evelyn's story. I would imagine this is the early 1900s and Evelyn is at a crossroads. Building her story, we're going to start with the blue ledger paper that is symbolic of the structure and routine of her life. It's all carefully planned out like the lines on this page. But life doesn't always go as planned, and for Evelyn, I believe that the torn parchment paper and delicate lace speak to the fragile nature of her dreams and the detours that she takes. Evelyn's detour wasn't exactly what she expected, but it was the path that she needed to be on. Her detour was a lesson in her letting go. Texture brings life to our pages, just as our experiences bring depth to our hearts. This lace is so delicate and fragile, and it reminds me of Evelyn's grace. She lived at a time where things probably weren't so easy, yet she carried herself with quiet strength. And just like the lace, Evelyn is fragile yet resilient. As I lay it down, I'm reminded of the beauty that comes with letting go and allowing life to unfold, even when it doesn't follow my plan. Evelyn's story is like most of ours. It's built from many small moments that are represented in the ephemera and the pieces that we place on this page. The handmade bead, the blue and white, speaks to the hopes that she carries, even when her life took her in unexpected directions. With every single piece that we add another layer to the story, creating a page that is rich in memory and meaning. Think about your own ephemera and what pieces represent your journey and tell your story. What would you add to tell it to the world? As I take this painted paper in hand, it feels like a canvas of hidden dreams, waiting to reveal its true beauty. With each delicate brushstroke, I paint on gold metallic little flowers, letting the shimmer dance across the surface like whispers of sunlight. These flowers aren't just embellishments, they're tiny treasures that are woven into the story. They're glimmers of light that peek through the layers, reminding us that even beneath the surface, there's always something sparkling, something waiting to bloom. This insert is a page that's inspired by Anne, a woman that was living during the late 1950s, whose life was on a quiet journey of self-reflection. Through the soft pinks and lilacs and delicate textures, we bring her story to life. As we layer each piece, think of it as a whisper from her past, a moment of stillness where she began to listen to her own heart. This page, like Anne, is a journey. This page, like Anne's journey, is filled with softness, subtle beauty, and a growing sense of peace. As I placed the label, the world grew quieter as she began to listen to her soul. I can't help but feel the weight and beauty of these words. Anne's journey wasn't marked by grand sweeping changes, but by gentle quieting, a soft surrender to the stillness that surrounded her. In a world that often demands so much noise, so much motion, Anne found herself drawn to the quiet, into the silence where she could finally hear her heart. As you add texture to your page, think about how these small, delicate elements can represent the quiet transformations in life. This ruffle, with its soft folds, mirrors the tender way that Anne began to embrace herself and her inner voice. The small pin of Anne as a young girl, perhaps it's a reflection of herself from years ago when her dreams were just beginning to take flight. Ephemera tells the story of life's little moments, the ones that we hold close to our hearts. For Anne, these moments are found in the quiet spaces. A letter that she never sent, a flower that she pressed between the pages of a book, a memory of herself as a young girl full of dreams. As I place these elements, I'm reminded of how life's beauty often comes from the details that we sometimes can overlook. The quiet moments of reflection, of listening to the whispers of our soul. Each piece of ephemera represents a chapter in her journey towards peace. And now these stories are ready to be shared. Or maybe kept in secret, tucked away in the pages. Or maybe kept in secret, tucked away in the pages of a journal for someone else to find one day. What stories will your pages tell? Each piece you create, each layer that you add, holds the potential to weave a new narrative. I encourage you to begin your own journey, to let your hands and your heart guide you as you craft pages that are rich with your own experiences and quiet moments. As we part today, I want to thank you so much for spending this time with me. If you've enjoyed this process and found inspiration, then I invite you to subscribe and follow along so that we can continue creating together. Your support means so much. It's what allows this creative journey to grow, and I'm so grateful and thankful to share it with each and every one of you. Don't forget to like and leave a comment below, sharing the stories you're ready to tell. Until we meet again, may your heart always be inspired by His love and grace, and may your creativity reflect the beauty that He has placed within you.